Welcome here. Welcome here. So, this is Joyce Odidison, and I'm so excited to be here with you today for the Resilience Catalyst Show. This is my live episode, and I'm bringing this to you because this is so important. Today, I want to talk about the one thing you can do as a leader. Just one thing. The one thing you can do that will transform your workplace culture. And often we think it is so much work, Joyce. There is just so much that we need to do. It's overwhelming. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's why I love coaching, because clients often see things as momentous. And I've been given the wonderful gift of making it simple. So I do love that. So, yes, I'm excited to be here with you, Joyce Odidison, the Resilience Catalyst Show, and welcome. This is my first episode in this show. Those of you who would remember, previously my show was What's Happening at Work, and I've done that show for a number of years. And now I'm switching because one of the things that we see in the workplace is the great mental health wave that we're having, the crisis. And often when I speak to leaders and when I speak to professionals, like, oh, Joyce, it's so much, it's so overwhelming. And it is simple. Everything starts with a mindset. We put far too much stress on ourselves, far too much energy on the wrong thing. So today we're just talking about the one thing you need to do to change your team, your workplace, and your culture. It's not 100 things. It's not 25 things. Just one thing. And yes, today is our first episode. So if you're a leader, you're HR, you are an executive, you lead a team, even if your team is 2 people or 200 people, it's the same thing. It's a single mindset shift that will transform your workplace culture. And you have to recognize that it starts with you. And everything, I always say this to my client, everything starts with a thought. So if you have the right thought, everything else flows from that. And that's what I want you to remember. So what is that? You must be thinking, okay, Joyce, what is that one thing? What is that one thing? You need to shift how you are looking at your team or your workplace. For 28 years, even today, 28 years after doing all the work that I've done, I still get called. Joyce, can you do a workshop for us? Joyce, can you do, we have low morale. Our leaders are struggling. Why are they struggling? I was like, why are they struggling? Is a workshop going to change it? The billions of dollars that are wasted every year doing ad hoc, one-up workshops. Here, come and do a workshop. Oh, can you do a group coaching session? It does not change anything if we don't change our mindset. Change that shift. How do you see your team? And I have notes. And if you want to receive these notes, please remember to drop a note at the bottom of this recording, and I will send you the link where you can download today's notes, because even I have notes. So I know if you have a pen and paper, let's get started, and let's get into this because it is so important. The first thing I want you to know is that your workplace is a living, thriving, breathing ecosystem. And that, if you can change that one thought, everything else change. Because when you start seeing your workplace as a living, breathing ecosystem, it changes everything in your organization. It changes the way you think about people. It changes the way you work with your employees. It changes how you talk to them. Heavens, it changes everything. So whether you're joining live with us on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, I just want you to know it's one thing, just one mindset shift. And that will transform your team. It will transform your workplace. It will transform your culture. Because I am tired of the ad hoc, knee-jerk, reactive behavior. We need to empower leaders to build thriving, sustainable, resilient teams through practical strategies and mindset shift. It cannot be easier than that. It's not hard, but we make it hard. We make it sound like it is so much work. Let's face it. Leading people is one of the most difficult job on the planet. So if you're leading people, or if you're in HR, your business partner, and you're partnering with those who are leading people, I hear you. I know it's a challenge, but we can fix it. So let me ask you a question. When you look at your team, do you see a collection of individuals or do you see an ecosystem? It is an ecosystem because most leaders focus on the roles. They focus on the task. Joyce, they're not doing their job. Well, today I want to challenge you to see your team as an ecosystem, a dynamic web where every action, every word, every decision ripples out, affecting the whole system. It's impossible for you to have a team and one member does something that doesn't have some impact on the rest of the team. It's impossible. And actually, the smaller your team is, the more you feel it. Because leaders will say to me, well, we've had this person gone on stress leave, this person's not performing, and now there's really nobody to do the work. Like, yeah, absolutely. Right? If you have a bigger team, you might be able to have that 80-20 where you have 20% of the team still functioning that you can get by. But that is something I want us to talk about too. Because most of the times we measure, is work getting done? Right? We measure by productivity. Is work getting done? Is the output happening? But at what cost? What is the human cost? People's mental health, their emotional and physical well-being, their emotional wealth, and guess what? They're starting to look, well, this is costing me too much. I need somewhere else to go. So as a leader, you need to have the ecosystem mindset. There are two things you will find in your organization. You either have a resilience ecosystem or you have a ruptured ecosystem. Yes, I am telling you, I have notes. And this is something that I want you as a leader to understand. Because your team is a living system. I don't care the size of your organization. It's an ecosystem. What happens to one affects the other. And you need to behave that way. Every word, every behavior, every relationship creates a ripple effect. So when you as the leader decide that you're going to hire your best friend, or you were once the team member and now you've been promoted in the leadership role and you still want to maintain your best friends, and you're wondering why are they not working the same way? Why is my friend not treating me the same way that we used to be when I was just a team member? Well, wake up. Hello. You're now their boss. And that changes the ecosystem. I am so tired of people getting into trouble because they forget to look at this particular aspect. They forget to see that everything they do have a ripple effect in the organization. Energy, trust, well-being flow. These all get blocked when you have a disrupted system. These happen through connections. When one party is striving or hurting, it impacts the entire system. You just can't get away from it. This is a principle of life. This is just, it's We are ecosystems. Our environment is ecosystem. Our teams are ecosystem. Our bodies are ecosystem. We'll have another conversation about that. We're focusing on teams and leadership right now because I'm tired. I'm tired of the same comment, the same question, the same shocker. Like I got off a session today and my client was surprised. I was like, why are you surprised? This is normal. So I see my job as helping to create awareness. And so this show is to create awareness and bring you tips so you will understand why things are happening the way they do. So there are two. Let's talk about the two types of system. The resilience ecosystem, the feature here, high trust, right? So trust is nurtured, people are open, they communicate to each other. The ruptured ecosystem, there's low trust, trust is eroded, it's broken, and nothing is being done to fix it. Yep. In the resilience ecosystem, I'm only going to talk about 5 elements today. Trust, energy, communication, mistakes, and outcomes. Those are the 5 pieces we're going to touch because this is not going to be a long show. I just want to bring you some key pieces. And every week we will expand on our learning. And again, if you want the show notes at the end, just send me a note. Say, Joyce, send me the notes. And I will do so. But think back. Have you ever been in a workplace where people don't get along? There is no trust. Nobody trusts each other. Right? What happens? You start protecting yourself. Well, you don't share as much information with others, and you're not as collaborative because collaboration happens in a high trust environment. So when you tell me, oh Joyce, my team isn't collaborating, what I'm hearing is like, there is low trust in my team. So when you start to have problems in your organization, there is a reason. And I will share more in a future episode about our resilience index and the assessment that you can put your team through so you can truly understand what the dynamics are, where you can get the resilience index for your team. And you can get it for yourself as a leader. Because if you're not showing up the right way, you're not going to get the right results. But let's come back to the two systems, right? Resilience ecosystem, energy. Energy is replenished and it's optimistic. On the ruptured ecosystem, energy is drained. It's depleted. People are just dragging. They're just hanging around, scrolling on their phones, looking for something else to do because there is no energy for work. None. Let's talk about communication. Communication in the resilience ecosystem is open, it's honest, it's inclusive. In the ruptured ecosystem, it's tense, avoided, exclusionary. Want me to still go on? Okay, let's talk about mistakes and errors. Yes, in a resilience ecosystem, we learn, and learning and growth opportunities happen. When a mistake occurs, it's an opportunity to learn and grow. In a ruptured ecosystem, when there is an error or mistake, it's hidden, people are punished or ignored. We don't tell anybody, we didn't see, it didn't happen, or all hell's breaking loose, or I don't tell anybody. We hide it. Opportunities for learning is gone out the window because we don't have an environment, we don't have an ecosystem that allows for that to happen. You see what happens with the mindset? Outcomes. What are the outcomes of a resilience ecosystem? High collaboration, high innovation, thriving. A ruptured ecosystem, resentment, withdrawal, disengagement, high turnover, high mental health claims. People are sick, stress leave. Huh. I wonder why. Because our environment has a lot to do with our well-being. And those of you who've seen my work or know, I don't do surface work. I do deep work. My work is transformational. My time on the planet is too short for me to do surface work. My work has to have impact. It has to transform. So I only work with those organizations that truly want to leave the status quo and do something forward thinking. And the leaders who want to. I've had leaders who've come to say, Joyce, nobody else is doing this in the organization, but I want this for my team. And I've had those who say, nobody else is doing it, I can't do it. And that's okay. It's a choice. You decide how you want to lead. You decide what you want to see in your team. So, I want to ask you, those of you who are watching online, hey Jacob, see you here. What do you see as your system? When you look at your organization, do you see it as an ecosystem? If you've been in a workplace where trust is low, how does it feel? Put it in the chat. How does it feel when nobody trusts each other and you're always watching your back? You see, as a conflict analyst and workplace consultant, I walk into organizations where that ecosystem is ruptured. It's bleeding all the time. Workplace where people are drained, morale is low, trust is eroding. And so it's an environment where wounds get bigger, not smaller. Because they're ignored. Nobody's doing anything to fix the situation or to transform. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of workplace am I working in? When you see things like favoritism, people are ignored. Like, it always floors me when a client says to me, oh yeah, my boss comes in and says good morning to my colleague, but not to me. And I'm like, how is that possible? How is that possible? How do you get up in the morning and say you're going to lead an organization? I don't care if you're working in a unionized environment, in government, in public sector, private sector. And you go into work as a leader and you greet one employee and you ignore another. Like, I think there should be a prison sentence for that. Like, to me, that is the ultimate crime to the ecosystem of your organization. Because everything you do as a leader has a rippling effect. It affects the energy. How is that employee supposed to feel? Invisible. I am not important. I do not exist. I don't even deserve a greeting. If you're not going to greet, don't greet anybody. So then we can say you're a grump. But when you choose to greet one person and ignore the other person sitting in the same cubicle, you're sending a message. And you're not just sending that message to that person, you're sending the message to your entire team that, hey, we can disregard others if we choose to. And there are no consequences. I've been around for a while. And I have seen leaders who thought they got away with behaviors like that because they think that employee has no power to affect their career. This is the heart of selfishness. This is the heart of arrogance. And hey, you should not be a leader. But you get there. And we know a lot of people get into leadership by accident. It's not because it was designed. It's accidental. But if you happen to be one of those people who get into there by accident, it is not too late. You can fix the system. You don't have to have people talk about you that way to their families. Yes, they're going home and talking to their families. Dinner table. What are they saying? Oh yeah, I work for that asshole who doesn't say good morning to me, but says to everyone else. Is that what you want? Is that your legacy? You don't want that legacy. You do not want that legacy. And some leaders, I have been around long enough to see that affects them when they least expect it. They get to a certain place and that's it. Because as I said, it's an ecosystem. It ripples. Now, not just their department, but others get to know, and it's outside, and it becomes common knowledge that they mistreat their employees. Oh, like really? Anyway, what I want you to do is to look at the difference between the ruptured ecosystem and the resilience ecosystem. Because if you want in your resilience ecosystem is people feel safe to speak up and share their ideas. Leaders and team members support each other. Mistakes have become learning opportunities. Energy and optimism renewed during rough times. Tough times are going to come. It's not going to be bed of roses all the time. It's just not a life principle. It doesn't happen. There are going to be tough times. There's going to be acquisitions. There's going to be mergers. There's going to be new leadership, new executive. There's going to be funding cuts. There's going to be market disruptions. There are going to be things where you need your team to stand with you. And you know what they're saying? Well, if she treats that person that way, possibly she will treat me this way, or he will treat me this way. I've got to watch my back. I cannot fully trust that leader because look how he treats Joe over there. Look how she treats Sally over there. So you truly never get the full trust of your team members when you mistreat others because they are wondering, I wonder when my turn is coming. I wonder what I could possibly do or when or what could happen that I could get treated that way. So here's what I want you to do. First, I want you, as I said, have a mindset shift. And secondly, I want you to adopt an ecosystem mindset and make resilience your goal. Every team, whether you are 5 or 200, every person, every team is an ecosystem, and every person there is a part. Your employees themselves have their own ecosystem, right? And when they come into work, they bring that energy. And if you don't recognize that they add to that, and you as an individual, as a leader, have to create and maintain and manage that ecosystem so that it is stronger, right, than what they bring in, so that they can adopt the culture of your resilience ecosystem. You want to create a system where people bounce back, support each other, thrive. In that disrupted ecosystem, you want to look at where the wounds fester and you want to perform and you want to heal. So you have to ask yourself this question: how does my behavior impact the whole system? What energy am I sending out with my words and action? How can I nurture resilience, connection, and well-being? Be intentional as a leader. It means fostering an environment where your team members can bounce back from challenges together. And so if you want to change the culture of your workplace, as I said earlier, if you want to be a grouch, don't greet anybody. But if you want to have a system where people trust you, people care about you, people feel you, your energy, the essence of you, greet everybody. It doesn't cost you anything. Be intentional with your communication. Ask for input. Listen deeply. If you notice a micro wound, where someone is upset, where things are said, don't ignore it. Go ahead. Be intentional. Small shifts create ripple effects because that's what the system does. That's how you start healing that disrupted ecosystem and building a culture of resilience. I always say a healthy workplace ecosystem is more than the sum of its parts. It's about how we show up, connect, and care for one another every day. That is how you're going to move the needle on your mental health claims. Don't come telling me, oh, we have so many stress leave. We have burned out. People are burned out. We're, there's overwhelmed. People not connecting. There's so much work. That's why. You don't have a resilience ecosystem. People don't feel safe to be themselves, and they can't show up and be themselves. So they half-heartedly at work. And that takes so much energy that it burns them out. So in closing, I want to just say to you, I would love to hear from you. What is one thing you take from this little snippet today, right? What is one thing you can do to nurture your resilience ecosystem? And let's face it, even if you're just a team member, you participate, you're part of that ecosystem. When you show up and you are disrespectful to your boss, when you're insubordinate, when you're mean to your coworker, you are disrupting the ecosystem. And that affects everybody. You're not just being mean to your coworker, you're spreading an energy of meanness. You're not just bullying that Sally, you are spreading a negative energy in the ecosystem of your team. So stop thinking that you're just going to tell that person, you just give that person what for. You are disrupting the ecosystem of your team. That's what you're doing. So yes, if you are a resilience ecosystem disruptor, stop. Drop your thoughts or questions in the chat or comments, and I'll be responding live. And feel free to ask for the show download notes. We'll make that available to you. And don't forget, check out my podcast. We'll also have a link for my podcast on this show here, so you can check out my podcast and tell me what resonated with you. If you like this episode and you think your boss should hear it, or your colleague or your coworker, hey, share it with them. That's all it takes. Sometimes it's just one thing. Just remember, I told you, it's just one thing. It's that one action you take that's going to make the difference. That's going to give that person the awareness and wake them up and say, hey, you're messing with people's well-being, their life. And we need to do that, because when we don't, we fall asleep on our intelligence and we start to disrupt other people's resilience and well-being. So if you have a question for a future episode, share it here with me. And of course, what are you going to do? What are you committing to do differently? How has this information sparked your curiosity? Because it's one thing to hear about a resilience ecosystem. It's another to start recognizing that any living, breathing people, where people are a collection of people, their thoughts, their actions, their energy, that social energy. When you tell me there is a morale issue in your organization, I know you do not recognize you have a living, breathing ecosystem as a team. So it's going to change your language. I hope it changes you, not just your mindset, but your language, your action, and your behavior towards each other. Kindness is not costing you anything. Respect for others is not costing you anything. You only think it does. It's because of your own internal mismatch, and you think that it's okay to do that. When you start to see everything as a resilience, and you start to see the ecosystem, and you start to see the impact that you have and that you can have on your workplace and that ecosystem, then you will change your attitude, you will change your behavior. That's my hope for you. As a leader, you will stand out. As a leader, you're going to Recognize that every decision you make, and we won't even talk about the boardroom and the executives, because you do. So in your life at work, in your team, it's an ecosystem. In your marriage, it's an ecosystem. In your with your family, it's an ecosystem. And the energy of the system can duplicate. What I'm finding is that when I talk to people, I talk to leaders, they're struggling at work, they're struggling at home because they don't understand the rippling effect of who they are, their lives, and everything that they do. And that's becoming a problem. So I want you today to share your thoughts. Tell me how this impacts you, what new ideas you got from it, and what you're going to do differently. Because you know what? We've got to make a difference. We've got to make a change. We cannot continue that way. We cannot continue with so many employees getting sick, with so many of us struggling with our mental health. We have to transform our thoughts, and that's the one thing you have to do. Thanks for being here today. This is the Resilience Catalyst. My name is Joyce Odidison, and I'm so excited that you tuned in. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments, and of course, you can request the show notes here, and we'll send that to you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.